This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony from the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. When Kanye West walked into the courtroom, no one was prepared for what he was about to say. But what he revealed froze the gallery in stunned silence. Staring straight ahead, Kanye declared that Diddy was not just a music mogul, but was connected to the mysterious death of none other than the king of pop, Michael Jackson. He wasn't speaking in metaphors. He testified that Diddy was part of a hidden power network, one that may have orchestrated Michael's fall. He pointed to Fahim Muhammad, currently Diddy's head of security, who had also been assigned to protect Michael in his final days. Then he described Michael's haunting last phone call. Kanye claimed that Jackson knew he was being hunted and swore in court that Diddy was the one pulling the strings. This wasn't a meltdown. This wasn't paranoia. This was a warning. In this segment, we break down Kanye's shocking testimony, the mounting evidence, and the deeply disturbing web of connections that could change everything. The courtroom had already been on edge. Day after day of unnerving testimony had visibly shaken the jury. But nothing could have prepared them for the moment Kanye West took the stand. Dressed in black, sunglasses off, hands slightly trembling, but voice steady, Kanye looked like a man who had waited his whole life to speak these words. "I'm not here to talk about music," he began. "I'm here to talk about murder." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The judge called for silence, but the tension clung to the air. Kanye calmly stated that he had been called not just to speak about Diddy's actions, but about what he called the systemic takedown of Michael Jackson. "This isn't gossip," he said. "This isn't some backstage rumor. This is real." He claimed that the same forces that tried to have him institutionalized through his former trainer Harley Pasternak were connected to those who surrounded Michael in his final days. He pointed squarely at Fahim Muhammad, the same man now running Diddy's security, who had been brought in as Michael's bodyguard just months before his death in 2009. According to Kanye, Fahim wasn't there to protect him. He was there to ensure Michael didn't speak. He said the same people who warned Kanye to fall in line or disappear gave Michael the exact same message. "If you go against us, you won't make it to the stage." Then came the bombshell. Kanye claimed to have heard Michael's final voicemail, a message that, he said, was played for him in confidence by the Jackson family. In it, Michael was reportedly whispering, breathing heavily, clearly terrified, as if someone were listening. The chilling final words? "Tell them it's Puffy. He knows. He's here." The gallery froze. Jurors were visibly horrified. Diddy gripped the table, his lawyers whispering urgently into his ear. Kanye simply repeated, "Michael knew." Then Kanye zeroed in on a name the media rarely touches, Fahim Muhammad. While the public knows little about him, Kanye said it was his mission to expose who this man really is, and why his presence beside both Michael Jackson and Diddy is no coincidence. He posed a simple question. Why would the most famous man on the planet, Michael Jackson, entrust his life to a 20-year-old with no high-level security experience? At the time Fahim was hired, he had just graduated from Sacramento State, yet within months he was in charge of the most targeted celebrity on Earth. Even stranger, Michael didn't pick him. According to testimony from the 2011 Conrad Murray trial, Fahim was introduced through industry connections that, Kanye claimed, traced right back to Diddy. He alleged that Fahim had worked for Diddy for years in unofficial roles, and that his role in Jackson's inner circle wasn't about safety, it was about surveillance and control. Kanye told the jury that Fahim had access to Michael's schedule, his prescriptions, his household staff, and most dangerously, his fears. Then he dropped another layer. Fahim had been a guest speaker at Wharton School, and Kanye said that was a red flag. Elite institutions like Wharton, he claimed, have long-standing ties to military intelligence. "What kind of bodyguard speaks at Wharton?" Kanye asked. "Not one who carries a gun, one who carries a mission." He then cited rumors that Fahim had helped erase hard drives and destroy surveillance footage from Michael's mansion after his death. "And now," he said, "this same man runs Diddy's empire." He described the Lil Rod lawsuit, which named Fahim Muhammad as the enforcer behind a criminal operation. The same lawsuit that alleged Fahim could make people and problems disappear. "First Michael Jackson," Kanye said. "Then me. Who's next?" Then he shifted focus to something he'd only ever hinted at: handlers. Shadowy figures planted in celebrities' lives to manipulate and silence them. He pointed at Harley Pasternak, his former trainer, someone who once texted him that he'd be sent back to Zombieland if he didn't comply. Looking directly at the jury, Kanye said, "That man threatened to drug me and lock me away. What do you think happens to people who don't play along?" Then he drew the connection. Harley and Fahim, two handlers, two artists, one objective: control. He claimed that Michael had his own version of a Harley, except this one didn't just threaten him. He had the keys to his house, his meds, and his life. Then Kanye laid out the pattern. Michael gains power by owning half of Sony's catalog. He challenges executives like Tommy Mottola, protests publicly, then suddenly he's sedated, sick, and dead, with Fahim Muhammad overseeing his security. Kanye rises to power, challenges Adidas, the Grammys, Balenciaga, even Jay-Z, and suddenly he's being threatened, hospitalized, stripped of deals, in his own words, becoming a modern-day Michael. But Kanye wasn't finished. He said, other artists who stood too tall, Prince, DMX, Whitney, had all voiced fears before they died. "You don't have to believe me," Kanye told the jury. "Just look at the pattern. They silence us, and they smile doing it." As the courtroom sat in stunned silence, Kanye West's testimony took a darker, more personal turn as he claimed to reveal details shared with him directly by someone within the Jackson family, specifically about a final phone call made by Michael Jackson just days before his death, a voicemail never heard by the public but reportedly saved by a family insider. According to Kanye, the message was filled with panic, fear, and desperation. Michael's voice was fragile and shaky as he whispered, "I don't feel safe. He's here. I know he is. They're trying to take everything." The final chilling words, as Kanye quoted, were, "Tell them it's Puffy. He knows. He's here. Please protect the kids." The courtroom gasped again as the judge banged the gavel and demanded silence. But the emotional weight of the quote had already landed hard. Kanye said the call had been made to someone close to Michael, someone who failed to act, who ignored the signals, who later regretted it. In the days leading up to his death, Michael had reportedly become increasingly isolated, cut off from his longtime team, forced to work with strangers, and surrounded by what Kanye described as industry plants wearing security badges. He pointed once again to Fahim Muhammad and asked why someone barely out of college was placed in charge of the most famous entertainer alive. Why did Michael's trusted security staff vanish overnight? Kanye asked. And who replaced them? And why? He brought up a fact often overlooked in the original investigation, that Michael's security camera system allegedly malfunctioned the night he died. This was a home that was supposed to be on lockdown, Kanye said. Yet somehow the cameras went down, the footage was wiped, just like the Diddy tunnel footage. Then came a theory that shook the room to its core. Kanye suggested that Michael Jackson may not have been meant to die from a propofol overdose. What? If he was being prepped for something else, and someone panicked? What if the plan went wrong? He asked. He explained the massive financial stakes at the time. Michael was worth billions in publishing rights, and his comeback tour was expected to shatter global records. Then Kanye added with a pause, that catalog is worth killing for. And with one chilling sentence, he closed that thread. Michael's death was the cleanest business move Sony ever made. That line sent a wave through the courtroom. It wasn't just about Michael Jackson anymore. According to Kanye, there was a long-standing pattern, a string of artists who had risen too high, questioned too much, or refused to play along, and they all ended up dead or disgraced. In what felt like a eulogy, Kanye recited a list. Whitney Houston, DMX, Prince, Amy Winehouse, Lisa Left Eye Lopes. Each, he claimed, tried to break free, tried to expose the truth, and each met a tragic end. He spoke of how Prince had publicly battled Warner Brothers over music rights, and how he warned younger artists about selling their soul to contracts and labels. Then suddenly, Prince was found alone, unresponsive in an elevator after telling friends someone was trying to silence him. Kanye recalled how Prince's last public appearances were strange, cryptic, filled with comments about being watched. Then came Whitney Houston, and Kanye said she once confided in Clive Davis, admitting she knew too much, especially about certain elite parties that allegedly involved people from Diddy's inner circle. Her final days, according to Kanye, weren't random. "They paint you crazy," he said, "so no one questions your death." He mentioned Left Eye, who had filmed a video just before her fatal crash in Honduras, claiming she was being followed and warned by spirits. "You know what she said?" Kanye asked. "She said she was being hunted." Days later, her car mysteriously ran off a road with no guardrails. He made it clear these weren't coincidences. These were executions, carefully packaged as accidents, breakdowns, and overdoses. "When you stop being useful to the machine," he warned, "when you speak out or when you own too much, you become a threat." Then he turned to one more. Name: Biggie Smalls. "You think it's a coincidence his murder was never solved?" he asked. "That the only one left from that circle standing strong is Diddy?" He framed the Diddy empire not as a music brand, but as a shield. One of the most protected structures in the history of entertainment. According to Kanye, Diddy's reach extended far beyond artists and songs. It touched executives, politicians, and even people with government ties. He referred again to the Lil Rod lawsuit, which alleged not only drug use and sex trafficking at Diddy's parties, but a deeper operation involving surveillance, influence, and the strategic silencing of threats. "This isn't about fame," Kanye said, "it's about power." He told the court that Diddy has connections that allow people to vanish, lawsuits to disappear, and stories to be buried. "You can't beat this in court," he said. "You fight it with light." He referenced federal raids on Diddy's homes, claiming that not all footage seized was made public. "I've seen some of it," he told the court. "Tunnels, documents, names. Some of those names still work in the industry. Some of them are in this courtroom." Then Kanye introduced a concept he called the pyramid, a network of assistants, stylists, producers, trainers, bodyguards, and lawyers, all with one shared purpose: silence and surveillance. "You're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to talk. And if you do, you'll never work again, or worse." Once again, he returned to Fahim Muhammad, calling him the enforcer. He's the one who makes the calls, wipes the phones, tells you to shut up or disappear. And then the dagger. Fahim was there when Michael died. Fahim is here now. So tell me, what changed? With that final line, Kanye paused, looked around the room, and delivered a brutal truth. The industry didn't just kill Michael, it turned his death into a business model. As Kanye West delivered that final line, the courtroom was silent, but the atmosphere was electric. What he had just said wasn't a rant. It was a full-blown indictment of the music industry, an accusation so bold, so direct, that even Diddy, who had remained mostly still, began to unravel. He sat motionless at the defense table, but his clenched jaw, twitching fingers, and sharp whispers to his legal team revealed what many in the room already felt. Something had cracked. Kanye's words weren't speculative, they were pointed, heavy, and relentless. And at one point, locking eyes with Diddy, he said, slowly and deliberately, "You know what you did to him. You watched the king fall." The room erupted in murmurs, and the judge had to strike the gavel repeatedly to restore order. Reporters scrambled to record every detail. Some whispered into their phones, others typed furiously, knowing they were documenting history. According to court sketch artists and legal observers, Diddy shook his head subtly but didn't object, didn't raise his voice, didn't deny a word. One journalist from Rolling Stone tweeted, "Diddy's face went blank like he wasn't in control anymore." Kanye had flipped the dynamic entirely. Continuing, he referenced private conversations with Michael, moments they'd shared, where Michael admitted he felt hunted. "He told me he didn't trust the people in his house," Kanye said. "He never named Diddy, but the man he described, young, always watching, never invited, that was Fahim Muhammad." This wasn't performance. It was confession. A weight being lifted. "I'm not here to entertain," Kanye said. "I'm here because a man died and another man got rich from it." That final accusation, a veiled reference to Diddy's acquisition of music catalogs in 2010 and his rumored $700 million fortune allegedly built off assets connected to Michael's legacy, shook even the most skeptical observers. Because if Kanye was right, then Michael Jackson wasn't just a victim of bad medicine, He was executed in a corporate hit. And if that were true, then this wasn't just a courtroom testimony. This was the music industry's reckoning. The moment Kanye's testimony hit live streams and social media, a storm exploded. Every outlet from CNN to TMZ blared headlines like Kanye West accuses Diddy of killing Michael Jackson and courtroom chaos as Kanye drops bombshell allegations. But the story truly detonated when the Jackson family responded. Jermaine Jackson, in an emotional Instagram post, wrote, "Kanye said what we couldn't say for 15 years. My brother was murdered, and the industry knows it." LaToya Jackson issued a formal statement through her attorney. "I've said it before, Michael didn't die of an overdose. He died because someone wanted him silenced. We're now ready to speak under oath." Then came a chilling development. Leaked. Internal emails from AEG, allegedly obtained by a whistleblower, suggesting that executives knew Michael was physically unfit for the tour, but pushed forward anyway. One line read, "He doesn't need to be well. He just needs to make it through opening night." Kanye's testimony had blown open a vault. Former Jackson staffers began contacting the court, volunteering to testify. One claimed to have seen unfamiliar security agents inside Michael's home the night before his death. Another said Michael would sleep with loud music on, terrified that voices were being piped into his room through the walls. Legal analysts across the country began re-examining the Conrad Murray trial, questioning how Fahim Muhammad had escaped scrutiny. "We missed something," said a retired LAPD detective who'd worked the original case. "This wasn't just malpractice. This may have been a setup." TV networks aired back-to-back panels. Some commentators dismissed Kanye's claims as conspiracy-laced hysteria, but others slowed the footage, paused the quotes, and let the weight of his words sink in. "They're still watching us." And then came the whispers that Fahim Muhammad, once a name barely known, was suddenly on federal investigators' radar. Rumors swirled that the FBI was reopening certain sealed files, revisiting the timeline, the voicemail, and the people surrounding Michael in his last days. But perhaps the most heartbreaking impact was revealed in private moments. According to sources close to the family, Paris Jackson confided to friends that she no longer believed her father's death was accidental. Prince Jackson reportedly posted, then quickly deleted, a tweet that read, "My father feared the industry. Now I understand why." What started as a case against Diddy was now a global spectacle, a moment when the curtain was pulled back and the public saw not just one man on trial, but an entire system exposed. Power, silence, surveillance, it was all laid bare. And in the middle of it all stood Kanye West, a man once dismissed as unstable, now being seen in a new light as someone who may have told the most dangerous truth in entertainment history. The lingering question in every mind, courtroom, and newsroom alike was simple. Will this change anything? Because if even a fraction of what Kanye said is true, if Diddy played any part in the engineered downfall of Michael Jackson, then this isn't just a trial. It's the beginning of a reckoning that's been 15 years overdue.